The purpose of these films, I've understood, is to challenge Western assumptions on the developing world and bring global equality on the map. I was wondering if there are any positive criticisms that you might have in the sense of suggestions or advice. What can we do? And yeah, I do wonder what your views are on environmentalism and sustainable development.
I do go along with a lot of the analysis that was presented on the ills of subsistence agriculture. I distance myself greatly from the prescription that somehow we must ignore issues of resource constraints and sustainability, and we just go for some big bang growth solution. But when you come back to the position of the peasant, then clearly not growing is not an option.
Right, this gentleman here.
Kim Tan from Oxfam.
Yes.
I just wanted to pose one to Viv when she said what WORLDwrite would say is, let's all have more. We're in a university here which is an institution to promote ideas, questioning, yes, but also research, facts, empiricism. What does WORLDwrite base that on? Let's all have more. Where's your analysis? Where's your research? Where are your facts?
To what extent is development limited by people's desires to not see Africa change? You know, that whole, oh, isn't it a lovely mud hut village? And that desire to not have that culture disappear from the world.
As much as I value the effort to question our own assumptions, I think we also need to point out that there are lots and lots of Western assumptions, both in the film itself and in the responses of the panellists. What's done in that film is nothing different from what NGOs did in the 1980s. It's basically the model of community development, where you go into a village and you ask people what they want. And the term for that is felt needs. So we've been educated as to the felt needs of the people in that particular village. The question is, how do we get that?
We live in the most anti-consumer, anti-consumption, anti-industrial age, yet in an age of abundance within the West, where we are most diffident and dissatisfied with our own society, materialism and consumerism, and yet we've gone beyond the 50s rationing and the scarcity of earlier generations. So, and I think that's where the debate is. Yet people forced to live that very real, inhuman existence are something that, you know, is unfortunately romanticised and eulogised these days. If the film just challenges that, I think it's a very positive thing. And I don't feel it's my business to sit here and say what sort of industry, you know, would work, you know, in Ghana, or what sort of this might work, or what I can say at least is I don't accept that anyone in the world should be denied the chances I have, and that includes the freedom to debate the kind of social system that they'd like to see.
Two points, really. One is, I think, that the discussion this morning about the sort of pity shots is damaging and creates an impression that Africa is a hopeless case. And it wasn't helped by the sort of images that were on the telly again yesterday with the sport relief programming. It's a great way of pulling in £10 million on telephone appeals, but it also creates a very negative and sort of hopeless sense of the problem. I mean, that's one part of it. I think another part is where maybe it's a little bit more worrying in some ways is that the time I can see when, as Westerners, we might be lured into seeing an idyllic view of sort of rural existence and therefore wanting to keep it like that is development tourism.
I will talk a little bit about global warming. It's more technology we need. It's better technology. It's cleaner technology. It's not the idyllic world of I am a greener. I continue. The romantic view of Africa, I am afraid many of us do have that. Africans with water on their head, with flyers over, and all these things. Africa needs development. Africa needs to work hard. But development will come for Africans when they stand for themselves. And for that, I am totally sure about that. How many of you did see China, the growth of China coming? 20 years ago, what we could see on television is Chinese on bicycles with that hat going with rice. They're investing in education. They are investing in research and all these things. And boom, the growth is there now today.
It seems that we like in the West to go and do our eco-tourist thing. And like a supermarket, it's like a global supermarket. We go over and we sort of have a little bit of, oh, look, yes, they're the natives, and look what they're doing. And that's fantastic, isn't it? And they're sharing, and they're more community, and they care more. And oh, they're happy. They're actually quite happy, aren't they? They're more happy than us. And we sort of build up this notion, because we're so, well, maybe it's a disenchantment with, with the West as well, but it's also we build up this kind of a picture of poverty as somehow culture. You know, that we treat the poor Africans as museum pieces. Actually, how we want the world to be is not a scientific question, let alone a scientific answer. It's a social question. It's a political question. And that's the tragedy of today. It really is. You know, that it used to be, we used to sit down and ask, what world do we want to live on? And we had enough faith in ourselves that after we answered those questions, we would then go out and make sure and try our best and get mostly there to where we want to be. And in my mind, we want to be in a world where everybody has the best. That at the very least, people are brought out of a survival life. You know, to me, my best thing about being living in a developed country is that not just I have freedom from toil, but I have a leisure time to create, to think, to be part of this day, to slob around doing EastEnders, to get political, whatever that is, I have that time. And that's precious to me. And we should be fighting for that for everybody.